at the end of the day, this game means so much in terms of where it positions both teams for the rest of the series, especially given their histories, right? If Sacramento was able to win these two games, especially given the Warriors' lack of defensive capability and lack of success on the road, it will implant a seed of doubt. It has to. Like, can we beat this team? Because they have to win a road game, right? And at the end of the day, if the Warriors were to win, especially if the Warriors were to win definitively, then all of a sudden the Warriors are going to go home thinking, we're an amazing home team. We've beaten this team this year. We've beaten them in the playoffs on the road now. This team ain't shit. We got this. With Phoenix, it's really interesting because that core, again, they've collapsed before. They collapsed literally last year against an inferior team. This would be obviously another collapse against an inferior team. But I want to see from KD what we get next game in terms of aggression. I want to see him take over. There was a lot too much standing around from him. You know, I think that he needs to take way more of their possessions into his own hands. So we'll see if he does. A lot of people were predicting, I think, before the series started. Saw some YouTube videos talking about like, oh, this is going to be a split crowd. Like Sacramento's fans might not be able to afford it given the spike in ticket prices because they're playing the Warriors and what have you. But the crowd was amazing in game one. I got to give these guys credit. They absolutely stepped on the gas in terms of supporting their home team and getting to the game. Ooh.
Outstanding play out of the timeout by Steve.
Absolutely. And that's one of his strengths. Like if you every time the Warriors come out of a timeout, they're so potently ready to score. They're going to have a good set, whether it be a late game situation where they need a three or whatever. Steve is extraordinarily talented in that department.
You mentioned Malik Monk is on the floor. He went off in game 2.
He did. Draymond then disrespected him after the game, I'd argue. Like, Malik has been cooking people, frankly, all season. And Draymond's like, you can't give Malik Monk 32. It's like, sometimes against any defense, Malik, a player of that offensive capability, talent, skill, is going to beat you. You know, sometimes that's going to happen. He's just a very talented offensive guy. He's done it. Now he did it for the Lakers last year. He did it for the Kings basically all year. This year he had months where he shot the ball absolutely scaldingly. So to say like, oh, you can't let Malik Monk beat you, it's like sometimes Malik Monk's just going to beat you, even against good defense. That happens. Especially when you have to pay that much attention to De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. That's just the nature of basketball. Malik is just that good as a point of attack player. And Malik obviously also, his finishing at the rim last game was like 10 out of 10. He was hanging in the air and not just drawing fouls, which he did during the fourth quarter especially, but he was finishing some of those plays. The Kings offensively have been very, very scattershot. They've had better possessions the last two. Oh my goodness. Jeez. This is as poorly as I've seen the Kings execute offensively at home all year. They're just all over the place. And I don't know why. They should be pretty calm after winning game one. The Suns series, listen, if that series is competitive, I was dead wrong. I did not think that series was going to be, I thought that was 5 cap. Absolute cap 5. But listen, the way that they competed, especially Russ, the way that they competed and how disconnected also Phoenix looked on defense, how available offensive boards were for the Clippers if they put the effort in, which certainly Zubats will the entire series. Russ likely will the entire series. Didn't get it off. Again, in terms of execution, both teams, like you guys point out, you're dead on the money. It is crazy how poor. That was a nice fit from Sabonis. It is crazy how poor they both execute, considering this Kings offense, and rightfully so, was record-setting this year. And the Warriors are the Warriors in the playoffs. That's crazy. What a pass again. I don't know. I got to say, I don't know whether the Warriors can survive Jordan Poole on the floor in this series. He's just unfortunately too poor in screen roll action. He gets caught on screens too much. He even gets blown by at the point of attack without a screen. He is a real as we talk about all the time, right? Even despite his offensive prowess in some games. And I don't think he was terrible offensively in game one, but he's just so exploitable.
Kings with a chance to grab the lead. The spin by Monk. The jumper.
Yeah, Malik Monk sucks, right? Can't give Malik Monk 32 points. That guy's terrible, right? Just how can you give Malik Monk 32? Like, what? That guy's horrible. What? That was a terrible shot. How did that go in? It just, again, sometimes smart people, you guys with high basketball IQ, it's like, what was your brain doing when you said that? Role players, terrible in the NBA. Low level of skill in the NBA overall. Can't let a role player beat you. Sublime.
Sabonis gets a touch. digs in. Risky bounce pass. Murray saves it. Mitchell three. Yes.
That's huge. Massive shot by Mitchell, because the Warriors, obviously, we talked about this with Darvin Ham and the Lakers yesterday. Darvin Ham especially is a guy defensively who will say, if the guy who I think sucks shooting the ball, what a terrible turnover by Curry there. If the guy that I think sucks shooting the ball beats us from the perimeter, we'll live with it. And certainly that's the case with Mitchell. You'll see they leave him and they try to recover eventually, but they are going to leave him open on most actions.
Herder, two-man action with Sabonis. The pull-up pump.
Big shot from Herder. The shot making from Sacramento has really turned up in the last 6-7 minutes. They were bricking everything early. So that says a lot.
Curry over Herder.
That's just unfair. Oh my goodness, Wardell. If you're looking analytically from a Kings point of view, the fact that Sabonis has been able, like the fact the Warriors have been able to contain him very reasonably with one guy, one-on-one, that should make their offense way less potent in terms of like the Kings' ability to execute. However, they've still won and they're up in this game, which, I mean, if you're looking for good signs, that is a good sign of all good signs. And you know what's interesting? We're going to talk about what Draymond just said at the half, and I think he's dead right. I think he's totally right. I think it's a very fair point he's making. But what I heard him say is he was talking in the lineup at the end. He's like, it can be a hard game or a soft game. Can't be both. I'm 99% sure that's what he said. And like we talked about before, right? You guys are pointing it out early on, very ticky-tack, right? A lot of screening actions, a lot of fouls that were like, okay, there was a little bit of a push, or there was a little bit of a grab, or he held the screen a little bit too long, didn't move out after setting it. And then all of a sudden, the game, they started letting things go, a lot of physicality under the rim, what have you, which is the way that I'd like the game to be called. And then they start calling, it's just like there's been a fluctuation, not on a possession by possession basis, but there are groups of possessions in this game that have been both. And that is, like we talk about the strike zone in baseball, that's very difficult for the players to adjust to. You want to know how the game is going to be called. And I totally agree with Draymond. It can be a hard game, officiating wise, or it can be a soft game. It can't be both, because it's unfair when you get into the last possessions of a close game. Players have to have a reasonable expectation of how they can play, how physical they can be. And if not, it just makes it impossible, especially with the skill level offensively that you have in this game. It's impossible to play defense if you don't know. That's a huge, and again, why is that foul so big? And he's holding him, bro. He is holding him.
Sacramento.
He is holding him. But that's, again, that foul means so much because of the effort by Keegan Murray on the previous possession, getting the offensive board and drawing the fourth foul, right? It's huge.
Monk gets the step.
Great finish by Malik again.
But watch Malik, able to catch the ball on the move.
That's a tremendous finish, man. Yeah, everything this quarter has pretty much gone Sacramento's way. They've played extremely well. They've made things happen for themselves. Stagnated the Warriors' offense as much as you possibly can.
And you have to credit the Kings for tightening up the screws a little bit defensively.
For sure.
Allowing Golden State the freedom of movement to operate and kind of get...
Again, their physicality at the point of attack and on screens, especially on the perimeter, really surprised me in a positive way.
Against Toronto. Curry misses on the push shot. Monk on the move. Monk. Left hand.
It's so funny. Those finishes over Draymond are so funny.
For the Warriors.
8-0 run. It's a 6-point game. Herder defended by Poole. Fox.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. And the Warriors need a good possession here. Yeah, that one, there was no rhythm on that shot. Got to look to penetrate.
Sacramento is now 7 of 34 from three-point territory.
A lot of them good shots, too.
Makes his move and kicks it into the stands.
Just, speaking of off, though, that pass is so poor on an important possession from Jordan Poole. I mean, that is wild, dude.
The officials did not call
This is a difficult shot. No, honestly, Trey Lyles did as well as he could on that. Just made him take a pull-up two-pointer, just made it. Great defense from Sacramento again, constraining the space, compressing the offense. Oh, what a crossover. Good pass, and GP will throw that down.
In for the stuff.
I mean, two excellent.
He's played, again, GP, another dude who is just unheralded to a lot of NBA fans, but oh my goodness, how much of an impact he can make in the game. He's made so many big impacts over the last couple of years for the Warriors. Oh, he missed it.
He was looking for a foul.
Wow. That was going to be a timeout by the Kings almost inevitably had the Warriors scored there.
Green gets tied up. And a technical has been assessed. Sabonis is down.
Let me say this.
What happened?
Draymond stepped on him.
I love that. The guy's so chill. He's like, great reaction.
Sacramento up by 4 with 7:03 to go.
I got one thing to say. So Draymond gets the extra punishment for the extra force that he added on the Stomp. And that's the end of his night.
So that's it for Draymond Green. He's done.
Huge amount of time to go here, too. Wow.
Foul on Domantas Sabonis.
And to be fair, again, Draymond had been executing his offensive role on the hard double from Steph. His catch and then facilitation had been the fundamental part of the Warriors making a little run here. So that's going to be interesting.
Another 87-95 Kings.
It's his time.
4:42 to go in the fourth. Fox using the Sabonis screen. The pull-up hot.
Oh. So when you're hot, you're hot. When you're hot, you're hot. This guy, man, I got to say, offensively, he's done so much this season that he was inconsistent with, capable of, but inconsistent with in past years. This year, especially again, down the stretch. Like, yes, absolutely. Some of those things, like, okay, it was the biggest fourth quarter scorer in the league. Some of that shit has to do with health. Some of that shit has to do with, weird sample sizes. Not in this case. This kid's just had that kind of year in terms of his focus, his execution down the stretch. Not a fluke at all.
By getting himself closer to the basket.
Again, you just cannot say enough about Davion Mitchell, how difficult he's made almost every single one of Steph's drives, how much he's made his catches difficult, how hard he's fought through multiple screen actions on the perimeter. He's been an incredible defender tonight.
In game one for 30 points.
In a game that, in the type of game, especially in the playoffs, that Steph usually tries to take over, Davion has not completely allowed it, which is incredible in and of itself.
It's Fox.
Giving De'Aaron an opportunity to do so on the other end.
24-8 after playoff losses under Steve Kerr, defending NBA champions, trailing 99-95. They blitz Curry, shot clock winding down.
Tough shot.
Off the side of the backboard.
Again, I got to tell you guys something. This defense from Sacramento, we saw, and you guys know that I've been heavily critical of them. I don't know what to say. They did not do this at any point in the regular. They just didn't. I can't tell you. And I paid attention to them because I really wanted to believe in them. But they did not do this during the regular season. And at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Because when they need to do it, it's during the playoffs.
Drive, kick. Now, keep in mind, De'Aaron Fox started this play. The outstanding.
Thompson fires.
What a shot by Clay. No, but I mean, that's it. And it wasn't just Davion. A lot of times this year, it's been just Davion competing at the point of attack. Everybody pursued so well. There were good contests despite their lack of tremendous rim protection. It is wild how well they played defensively in this game.
Beautiful pass, middle pick and roll.
He knew it was good too. Look at how confident he was after the release point. It shows you everything. Yes, the regular season matters, seeding, what have you, but the playoffs is a different game. And sometimes teams and players rise to the occasion. Give Mike Brown so much fucking credit. And they light the beam for the second time in a row. As any objective basketball fan, if you don't love what you saw tonight from the Kings, you don't love team development, you don't love players rising to the occasion, you don't love the sport. What an unbelievable performance.
Got Domantas Sabonis.
Glad he's alive.
What was your mentality going into game two tonight?
And getting Looney in foul trouble was massive for Domas in this game, especially for his offensive productivity. The offensive rebounding was massive for Sacramento in stretches. And again, I'll say this. Sacramento, with the way that they played, if you put the two teams' level of play into a computer overall in this game, most of the results that the computer would spit out are a bigger Sacramento victory than this. Sacramento actually missed a lot of wide open threes. The Warriors didn't miss many open shots. They really didn't. Sacramento could have won this game by more. That's how well they played. Cheers. Congratulations to the Kings fans. And once again, light the beam. Thank you guys so much for listening. I do basketball watches most nights on kick.com. It's on your screen right now. So jump in if you want to talk basketball, watch basketball, and hopefully everyone has a great night. Enjoy the games.